What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Canadian Football Fantasy Fix for the Division Semi-Finals of 2021. I'm Ryan Coop here with your running back preview this time around. Taking a look at all the running backs available and the go-to options here for the East and West Division Semi-Final. The Hamilton Tiger Cats hosting Montreal Alouettes, Calgary Stampeders in Saskatchewan to face the Riders. And we'll take a look at the running backs here shortly. Of course, if you missed it, go back, check out the quarterback preview for this week. And stay tuned later today or tomorrow. I will have your receiver and defense previews as well. I mentioned it on the quarterback preview already, but no depth chart update video this week. I am not able to get to my recording desk properly with a busy schedule on the weekend, with the depth charts only coming out Saturday. So won't be able to get a video out then, but you can follow me on Twitter at CooperTrooper42 to get the depth chart updates to lock in your lineups. CFL Fantasy resets for the playoffs, tweaked a little bit with a lower cap limit, $30,000 instead of $40,000, and one less running back and one less receiver to pick from. So you only have one running back and potentially a flex to choose from the running back position this week, and of course a lot less options available. The model we used all season long is, try to get a guy that can hit you 2.5 points per $1,000 to hit a 100-point week. We're going to stick with the model here because it's worked all season long. I know it won't hit a 100-point week here in the playoffs, but totals all around are going to be on the lower end. So if you can get every dollar you spend giving you 2.5 points per 1,000, well, that should still set you up as one of the top scores of the week. So let's take a look at the running backs with that in mind. And there's one option I love, there's one option I'm considering, and then the rest I think are all stay away froms this week. And it starts off, let's go top down price wise and start at William Powell of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, $8,380. I honestly think the price is a bit absurd. William Stanback is a nominee for MOP of the league this year, and rightfully so. He led the league in rushing by quite a bit. I'm shocked that his price is not higher than Powell's. I'm also shocked Kadeem Carey's price isn't even higher than William Powell's. But anyways, he's the most expensive running back on the slate, which makes it even easier to say stay away from him this week. He's averaged 12.2 points a game in the 13 games he's played this year. You need 21 to get full value out of him. What has he done in recent weeks? In his last 5 games, he's put up 12.7, 8.8, 17, 6.1, and 12.5. You need 21 points out of him to have a good day. He has hit that total once this season. Now, you think maybe, that's the key to the Riders to go and win this game, this playoff matchup, is to get Powell going. Well, we haven't seen them properly use him effectively on a consistent basis all season long. So I'm not sure I want to bank on them all of a sudden switching up to that in the playoffs. He's been a letdown fantasy-wise more weeks than not this season. Calgary's defense has started to round into form down the stretch drive here. So I would say stay away from William Powell this week. I'm also saying stay away from William Stanback. Stanback has the ability, as I mentioned, top running back in the league this year. He has the ability to go out and if given the opportunity to do so, win this East semifinal by himself for Montreal. If they really leaned on Stanback, he could have himself a fantastic day. We saw him once earlier this year rush for over 200 yards in a game. We've seen several games of over 125 on the season. But the problem has been, week in and week out, that the rushing yards are great and all, but it's 1 point for every 10 rushing yards you get. Rushing touchdowns is where you get the points for running backs. Receptions, a 10-yard catch is 2 points, whereas a 10-yard run is only 1. That's where you get the points as well. Stanback doesn't get those. I think he had 3 touchdowns on the season, barely had any catches all year. And so even if he's rushing for, you need a 200-yard rushing game almost if he's not scoring a touchdown to get you to the full value. The Ticats have a pretty stingy defense against the run, and so I am skeptical. I think Stanback will have potentially a 100-yard rushing game here, but he's not going to get the catches. And if he doesn't get the touchdown there, that is a big letdown for you. If he does hit 100 yards and a touchdown, then he's getting close to value, but still not quite going to hit it. I don't want to bank on that. Seems like Montreal likes to go for the passing touchdowns more often than not. I say stay away from William Stanback. The go-to option for me this week is Kadeem Carey of the Calgary Stampeders. He was their nominee for most outstanding player this year, and rightfully so, because he has been the most exciting part of that offense and of that team in general. In the last 5 games, Kadeem Carey has hit at least 2 points per $1,000 in 3 of them. He did have a couple duds in there of 8.6 and 13.7. Those aren't terrible numbers, but he hit over 20 points twice. He hit 16.5 once. And I think, we've seen Bo Levi Mitchell struggle quite a bit at times this year. If Calgary's going to come into Saskatchewan and win this game, they're going to need to get Kadeem Carey involved like they have. And they've been most effective this year when they've done so. So I'm high on him in that regard. He's got a 13.4 fantasy point average this year. He's facing a Riders team that gives up amongst the highest point totals to running backs on the season. They're good at stopping the run, but they give up a lot of touchdowns to running backs. And Kadeem Carey also gets involved in the passing game. I like the option this week. I think he's one of the better starting running back options available to you. Don Jackson's a yellow light for me. He's had great success since he's stepped into the lineup as the starter. $6,996. You need 17.5 points out of him. Well, he has hit that total or very close to it in all 3 games since he was a starter. 18, 17.6, and 17.2 in the past 3 games for him. That should be a lock, right? He's hidden very much the value every week he's been the starter for Hamilton. And I think, the Ticats have played their best when they've gotten him involved, much like with Kadeem Carey. It's shocking when you have a 2-dimensional team that your team is playing at its best. Who would have thought, right? The reason it's a yellow light for me is the matchup with Montreal. Montreal by far gives up the least amount of points to running backs when it comes to CFL Fantasy. They're averaging 12.9 on the year. In total, they were the only team to give up under 200 fantasy points to running backs on the season. The Alouettes were. So they've got the shutdown run defense. That's where this matchup concerns me, is if the run game's not going well early, is Hamilton going to stick to it as a team we've seen, abandon the run a lot of times throughout the season? Are they going to stick with it if it's not working early, or are they going to rely on Jeremiah Mazzoli in the passing game? So a little skeptical on Jackson there, but I think he is still a pretty solid play and would be my second option behind Kadeem Carey. Then we get into some of the backups. I'll go through one for each team here. Sean Thomas Erlington for the Ticats might get involved in a couple plays here and there, but he's not putting up 14 points if Don Jackson's starting here. He's just not going to get the workload to do that. I don't like that option. Ante Milanovic-Litre is the kind of guy where, he'll go weeks and weeks as the backup running back, not really get involved in the play, and it's not worth putting in your lineup. And then, Calgary at times just likes to start getting him involved more and more. When Kadeem Carey was most on his game this year, it seems they shied away from that. So I'm not banking on Ante Milanovic-Litre. I think there are cheap value plays you can have at receiver, and you should maybe be spending a little more on a starting running back this week, given the low number of options for your rosters. 2 kick returners, Jamal Morrow and Martese Jackson. Either of them, Morrow hasn't looked too bad. 6.4 point average in the 8 games he's played this year. He's come close to the full value. But I'm not sure I'm banking on a return guy necessarily to put you up the points here in these games. Calgary's got a great punting crew. Cody Grace has done a fantastic job for them there. And so I'm a little concerned Morrow's not going to hit his value. Same thing, Martese Jackson really hasn't done much. Only handles kicks, not even, or punts, not both. Neither of these seem like strong running back plays. I think you're safer off once again going with one of the starters this week and taking a value play at perhaps quarterback or receiver. So those are your options at running back for the division semifinals. Love Kadeem Carey. Like Don Jackson, but there is some skepticism there. And then honestly staying away from the rest of the field. I think it's one of those two is who you should put in your lineup. Go back, check out the quarterback preview I put out earlier today already. Stay tuned. Also, I will have wide receiver and defense previews out in the next day or so. Do all the YouTube things, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you liked, what you didn't. If you have any fantasy questions, put them in the comment section or tweet them at me at CooperTrooper42. Link to that's in the description. You can also find the depth charts there on Saturday once they come out. I will tweet them out even if I don't have an update video. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care. Have a good one. Bye.